So when we think about the implications of global finance and what that means to just the average American, well, we can't talk about that without thinking about the actual global institutions, IMF. One, the International Monetary Fund. Well, they work very closely and take a lot of a lot of their policies and implications based on what we do here in the U.S., specifically with the Federal Reserve, what those policies are, what we're doing in terms of lending, how much money is. Obviously, the global reserve, the reserve currency, is the U.S. dollar, but it's fiat currency. It's not backed by anything but a trust. If you turn your dollar over, it says a trust. And God, we trust. Well, guess what? That trust is just a bank note that's not backed by anything but the government's word. That's why we can sell bonds globally and we can sell parts of our industry globally without actually putting a dollar into it. We just have a dollar amount associated with it. I think what the average American citizen should be thinking about is how to become a player in the game, and not so much of a critic of the players in the game. And an example to look at would probably be China. They actually integrated into the economic system, the WTO, less than 20 years ago. I believe at this point, it's been just about 20 years. And they have lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty just by playing that game. So the global finance system itself is something that I think that has not just benefited society overall. It just has not had much of an impact much of a good impact for American citizens because one, it's our tax dollars that's funding it, and we're not paying attention to it. As we see other nations rise out of poverty, we see our nation population dive into poverty. Well, those other nations, the difference is they're educated about the global finance system, and we don't educate ourselves about it here in the U.S. So when we think global finance, it's more than just the economic growth that can actually come in it, but how we participate in the global market as well. Cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency, there's so many of them right now. The role that it plays primarily is an alternative financial system that people can use for trade. The interesting thing about cryptocurrency is that there is no one who actually regulates this currency. There is no regulating system. There is no cops on the beat, if you will. It's really just kind of regulated from transactions and trust that people put into that market, if you will. We're starting to see more and more ATMs that are accepting it. More and more businesses starting to accepting these different type of cryptocurrencies. But ultimately, I think that we're going to have to really integrate it into a governing system. At some point, it's going to have to be some way that we can actually govern it, because right now, if you lose all your money in it, there's no one to go help you figure out. There's no point person for you to get your money back. We also can use cryptocurrency on the black market at this point. Well, how do you think a lot of people are getting trafficked around the country? We're finding more and more evidence of these types of currencies being acceptable payments because they're easily laundered through different alternative methods. Different banks are actually accepting them, purchasing it for a person or a body of some sort, weapons and things of that nature. That's going to escalate as time goes on because we haven't regulated it yet. I think that the role that it has right now is destabilization, but it's not too late to actually bring it into the fold. We are going to have some form of cryptocurrency, if you will. It's no more than it's just part of natural evolution. We think about the metaverse, we have a term for it now, but it's existed for a really long time. It's existed as long as AI, if you will. It's just now more of a reality for us and something that we're gonna have to catch up to. Well, guess what? Metaverse as well as cryptocurrency, both of those are going to have to be thought about intentionally, how we're going to regulate it, because it's a reality for today.